Hope you all are doing wonderfully well because last week we had such beautiful tips given. SAD is stress, anxiety, and depression. And then we were trying to overcome that by CLAT, which is clapping, laughing, art, and talking, because talking is also important with all those three things. So today we are going to be talking about something which interests everybody and has happened to everybody in life, which is a breakup. Hope that rings the bells. So we are going to be talking about how sad, stress, anxiety, and depression can lead to breakups. And a lot of breakups, they really break the people down so much that they're not able to take charge of their lives. So we'll be talking about how to manage breakups and why breakups actually happen in the first place. How are you, ma'am? As we were discussing, and as I just told everybody, let's understand from you how sad as stress, anxiety, and depression is impacting relationships, and is it really making breakups happen?
Yeah, so if your mental health is not comfortable or it is not up to the optimum standards, what is going to happen is that your behavior is going to be different. You might act more aggressively, you may become more irritable, or there could be uncontrollable cries, or you become clingy more often because you feel the other person may go, they may leave you. It could be because of anything. It could be because of our emotional baggage from our past relationships, but that is making us sad, stressed out, anxious. What if this partner leaves us? What if he also turns out to be another jerk, which I've been experiencing earlier? And what if he leaves me? And what am I going to do about it? And I cannot survive this. Oh my God, I just cannot survive. So these kind of, various strong emotional upheavals, they happen in one's mind, leading to anxiety, clinical depression, and clinical stress, which means that they need to be addressed by a psychiatrist and be given psychopharmacological treatment, that is medicines.
Right. So if somebody is not able to take care of their mental well-being, or they are overwhelmed by their emotions, thinking about past, present, and future, and they are not able to, take charge of themselves, it can lead to a problem in relationship and can lead to a breakup. So if one is not taking care, and if one is not really ready to understand, I think this is one important thing. A lot of times people are not ready to understand there is something wrong in the way they are, or the way they are behaving, or the way they are thinking. I think the major problem starts there only. And is a breakup one-sided thing, or it can happen from both sides? I mean, it's because, let's say, a guy is not able to adjust with a girl because of whatever tantrums, and nobody's able to understand, or a girl is not able to adjust because he's too obsessive, or he wants to take complete charge. So I mean, if people really love each other, and if people think that's a relationship meant for them, I think the first question is whether that relationship is actually for you or not. So what should people do to, not let that relationship break? Because anything which breaks is any relationship which breaks is going to hurt a lot.
दिल तो दुखता है, दिल तो टूटता है, so ये है ना, दिल तो पागल है. So what happens is, like I'll use your words only. You mentioned abhi beech mein, if you love me. I mean, if they love you. When we think, and this is again a loop, a thinking loop, which which actually catches us and the relationship completely, which is not a very healthy thing. And what is this loop? If you love me, that means if you love me, you would do this. If you love me, you would understand this. If you love me, you would not do this. If you love me, you would have done this by now. Then मुझे क्यों बताना पड़े कि मुझे क्या हो रहा है? You love me ना, तो तुम बताओ मुझे क्या हो रहा है, मुझे क्यों हो रहा है? Why am I feeling so jealous, or why I'm feeling so insecure, or why I'm feeling so possessive, or why I'm feeling upset? मतलब मेरे अंदर कुछ भी हो रहा है, just because I assume that you love me and you saying you love me, मतलब आपको अंतर्यामी होना पड़ेगा. So when there are unrealistic expectations from the relationships, things really go haywire. And think in terms of those people, Ashwa, we are not even talking of adults in relationship. We are talking of people class 11s and 12s, in relationships, in beginning of college, they're in relationship, and they have been carrying this relationship baggage for last 2 years, 3 years, or whatever it is. And they are, their mind is not that mature to handle the issues which arise in a relationship. Getting into relationship is easier. Managing a relationship, maintaining a relationship becomes very difficult. और वो
Absolutely.
छोटे बच्चे हैं, little youngsters हैं, they need hand holding there. लेकिन कहाँ जाए? वो टीचर्स को नहीं पूछ सकते, पेरेंट्स के पास नहीं जाएंगे, और जो उनके फ्रेंड्स हैं उनकी भी तो इंटेलिजेंस और इमोशन मैच्योरिटी उसी लेवल की है,
सेम लेवल की है. So parental communication is important. We'll be coming back to parental communication in one of the next episodes. But that brings me to one point, ma'am. When we're talking about breakups and whatever is happening with the teenagers or small kids whose frontal lobe is not developed, they are not rationalizing. It is just the adrenaline rush, and they feel, oh my God, this girl, I can do anything for her, or this boy, he's my hero. And then suddenly, when it comes crashing down, they are like, nothing is left for me, though that's not the fact, but their mind is thinking like that. So yes, this is a different story, that is this the age to have boyfriends or girlfriends, or this is the age when you should go out, have fun, enjoy, and make your careers, do the best, follow your passions. But we can't avoid it. It's happening. A lot of kids are, there is a peer pressure. If you don't have, ma'am, there is something called peer pressure for not having a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Now that is also causing a lot of stress and anxiety. So I mean, how do the children deal with that?
So many times people come and they say, feel, and they are good lookers. I mean, whether it's a girl or a boy, they are good lookers, they are smart, and they are intelligent, and they speak very nicely, smartly, but they honestly believe that they are nerds. Why? Because they do not have a girl or they do not have a boy, they can call their own. मेरे पास लड़की नहीं है, या मेरे पास मेरा बॉयफ्रेंड नहीं है, तो मतलब he says कि the child, the person can say कि मेरे पास लड़की नहीं है, आई फील सो ऑड एंड आउट, मैं किसके साथ बात करूं, मेरा अगर बात करने का भी मन करता हो, मेरे सभी फ्रेंड्स के पास तो है लड़की, तो पेयर्स है. So this is again a very common statement. Yeah, girls will say उसका बॉयफ्रेंड है, my other friend, she is going with her boyfriend, we can be, what do I do? And my parents don't understand the issues and the worries I'm going through, the stresses I am in, because I am not in a relationship. So you're talking about stress and anxiety and depression. So this can also lead to major anxieties and major depressions. Many times people come to us in our hospitals also or online consults, and their parents are saying इसका पढ़ाई में मन नहीं लग रहा, आजकल बहुत aggressive हो रही है, बहुत रोती है, irritable हो रही है. And when you dig deeper, तो पता लगता है कि all that is happening because there is no boyfriend around, there's no boyfriend in the picture.
I mean,
and the self-esteem gets so battered because of that.
So I think there probably the parental communication and a word which can go to the younger kids is that have fun, my dear. You have the whole life to make boyfriends and girlfriends. You are going to get into families, and then you'll be like, oh, I have so many responsibilities. So why do you want to take responsibility of a girlfriend and a boyfriend? You have parents, you have friends. Just go ahead, live a stress-free life, and just be friends and just go have joy and fun. But ma'am, what about those who would not still understand and still they have boyfriends and girlfriends and they are getting into a stress?
This is a very common scenario. Dating is a very common scenario. We have to accept that. And in many, in-service training of teachers and principals and counselors from schools across the country. So the very common statement from the so-called adults, the school management or anyone, and management includes the teachers and the principals and the counselors. So they say, हमारे स्कूल में तो ये नहीं हो रहा. हमारे स्कूल में तो नहीं हो रहा. And my gynecologist friends, they are saying, and the statistics are reporting, MTP is on the increase. Medical termination of pregnancy is on the increase among adolescent girls. अब बताइए, ये अगर हम वो आगे बंद कर ले, it doesn't mean society is not facing all these issues, है ना? So as intellectuals, as academicians, as mental health professionals, as any health professionals, I think it's a moral duty to sensitize the general public
Absolutely.
about these issues which are there. बहुत बार बच्चे जो हैं, बच्चे means young adolescents, young adults, they are made to come to visit our hospital and for counseling consultations, and they say कि आपसे हम बात कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर, that's fine, but हमारे parents need counseling, उनकी कौन counseling करेगा? So that is where the family therapy component comes. Ashima, the family
I think
therapy,
an open communication at the end of parents is needed. I think if the parents are able to understand their kids, yes, they definitely would feel the need, because that is what is happening around them. They would definitely have, because adrenaline rush, physical changes, so much is happening to them, and they definitely don't know how to, take charge of that rush of emotions, because they can't rationalize. And that is the time when the parents can help the children in diverting their emotions in good things. Or okay, if there is still a need for a boyfriend or a girlfriend, there can be certain do's or don'ts or guidelines drawn, because as you say, a teenage pregnancy is on rise, and the termination of pregnancy is also happening. I think that's not a rosy picture. So if one really needs to have girlfriends and boyfriends, please take charge of your lives instead of just going berserk, because that is going to harm you more. That will complications. Yes, yeah, please. That will lead to a lot of emotional upheaval.
Yeah, so communication is very important.
Yeah.
And communication, if communication is not happening properly, it leads to various complications, as you were saying. Right? So what happens is that when people are in relationship and the breakups happen, and we are talking about maybe any ages now, whether it's adolescents or young adults, we are going through grieving process. So we need to understand their grieving process. Right. They are going through grief, and that means they are going through feelings of abandonment. They feel left out, they feel abandoned by the people, by someone whom they thought that is going to be there with them forever. Absolutely. Then there is devastating pain. Pain is there. So we need to understand the emotional pain they are going through. So even when parents bring their adolescent children, they still call them children only to us. So when we look at them, they are verbal, non-verbal cues. So we understand more from the things which they are not saying. Why they are not able to focus in their work. Why they feel, they are huddled up in one corner all the time. Why they don't feel like talking to anyone. So the parents and the caregivers, the family members, and even the colleagues, we need to understand why, if a person starts behaving in a different manner, in a quiet manner, and or he's getting irritable more often in the office also, he may be going through maybe many upheavals in his life, which is leading to stress, anxiety, and depression.
Ma'am, how
devastating pain the person is going through. Then you are blaming yourself for relationship ending. Most of the time, we are blaming ourselves for relationship ending, which is also very, very important.
Right.
So which really impacts. All the time we are blaming ourselves कि मैंने ऐसा कर लिया, तभी उसने ये सोचा, तभी उसने ये करा. Okay, let me change myself. And please give me a second chance. So, आप SMSs भेज रहे हो, WhatsApp messages भेज रहे हो, then you get blocked up also. You're sending mails also. You're sending letters written in your own blood. आप वो भी कर रहे हो, because people come and show me those things and they feel so upset, And we are talking about adolescent relationships. They get so impacted, or young adults, people who are still in college. Young adults, but they are going through lots of pain. We need to understand. As parents, we need to understand. As their teachers, we need to understand. As their well-wishers, we need to understand. The pain is very real. and they are struggling also to let go of imagining a future with their partner. Once they have been dumped or they feel that the other person has broken up with them, they still have this, incessant need to keep connecting with them, to keep calling them up, to keep, in touch with the common friends so that they can put in a good word, for them to their exes कि वो बहुत रो रहा है, उसका तो उसने खाना पीना छोड़ दिया है, वो तो अभी अपना सुसाइड अटेम्प्ट करने का कोशिश कर रहा है, उसने अटेम्प्ट भी कर लिया. Many times people come to us and
Yes.
say कि आप उसको and so को रिंग कर दो, उसको पता लगेगा डॉक्टर के पास हम आए हैं और हम उसमें थे, हमने नींद की गोलियां बहुत खा ली. They may not have done it, but they want us to call their exes up and they so that they get little
So
bit
they're looking for some place where they can be heard, somebody who can take care of them. And because for them, it is like the whole world has fallen apart because their boyfriend or girlfriend has left them. It might sound as if it's something funny to a lot of people, but that is true. Those are these strong emotions of the young adults and those adolescents who are undergoing and who thought that somebody was their whole world, and suddenly the entire world has gone for them. I think parental communication becomes very important aspect here. But ma'am, how do we help such kids? A girl who gets pregnant and she's going in for a termination. I don't think a young girl, it would be easy. She would undergo a lot of turmoil. Or for a guy who has been dumped by a girl, it would be very difficult for them to take charge of their lives. So how can we help them in taking charge? What are the self-help tips for them?
Yeah, there are various self-help tips. Basically, I will say talk is very important.
Right.
Talking to a family member or a friend. Talk to
Mhm.
another friend. But
Mhm.
especially in young adolescents, please meeting up your mental health professional is very important. So meet with someone. Talk therapy really helps. Or talk to some elder. Maybe your uncle, maybe your aunt, maybe your neighbor uncle, your aunt. It could be a relative, it could be a neighbor, it could be a
Parents
teacher with whom you can rely.
parents
Those
also,
things,
if parents are good enough, parents, that is
it
what,
doesn't happen. The fact is it doesn't happen.
it
It
doesn't
doesn't happen.
happen. That's the sad part, isn't it?
Yeah, so that is what I wanted to convey in this particular segment about the pain, the very real pain the people go through, the young adolescents go through during the breakup, and they can manage their this kind of breakup, the pain. Uh,
It is very needed to manage it. The pain.
So there are various self-help tips which we can use ourselves to self-empower ourselves.
Okay.
छोटे बच्चे हैं, समझ नहीं आता उनको कि हम क्या करें. तो
Mhm.
उस वक्त is very important they reach out to some elder person because their friends are also equally intelligent or equally understanding as them. तो उन्हें भी difference ज़्यादा guidance नहीं होगा. They may
True.
say छोड़ दियो उसको, उसका ego आ गया or something. So वो सब चीजें जब आने लगती है ना तो young adolescents and young adults we're talking about people who are in class 11th and 12th to first and second years of college. Now this particular segment of people, they are very vulnerable to emotional upheavals and pain, and
Okay.
this is the time they get into clinical stress, clinical anxiety, and clinical depression, and they are
Mhm.
not realizing it. And by the time the parents they come to realize something is grievously wrong with them, 3-4 years may have elapsed, and that is again the parents also need to be given this kind of orientation. That is part of another segment, that parents need to be oriented about the things which are happening in the society and how they are impacting their child. So it's very
Absolutely.
important. At this stage, only coping mechanism for such people, these young adults, young adolescents, is talking to someone they can trust. It is very difficult to find at this stage when they are going through this devastating pain to find someone they can trust. And then what happens is if they are not able to do that, they get into another relationship on a rebound, and many such sexual exploitations and other kind of encounters may happen which can have very negative consequences.
So
So we should
basically, they are
start
wanting to have
here.
another relationship to cover up for the first, but because they are not mentally ready and sure and prepared, they would end up, getting hurt again. So they'll have to understand that that's not how it is to be lived. So is there a way of giving them an insight?
Yeah, definitely. One is orienting them about these issues. And second, talking is very important. Sharing is very important. Shedding of their fear is very important. Otherwise, the negative consequences, they may impact for life. They may be scarred, emotionally scarred for life. Many times in marriage counseling also, people come to us because they have been scarred during their, these formative years.
Young
And
years
this is
formative.
something which is again we need to take into account as parents, as teachers, as mental health professionals, even as budding mental health professionals, कि जो हमारे सामने आया है केस और जो प्रॉब्लम है, वो प्रॉब्लम जो देखने में है, दैट इज अ ओवर्ड कि हेडेक हो रहा है, पेट दर्द हो रहा है, या फिर मेरे को चेस्ट पेन हो रही है और पैनिक अटैक इज हैपनिंग, बट द डीपर अंडरलाइंग कॉजेज आर totally different. And that is where we need to understand that and help them overcome that. And this is where the role of mental health professional becomes very important and significant.
So the only self-help tip for them is to talk it out. And is there a way to make them understand that the world has not ended? There is more to come.
So when they come to a mental health professional, he or she is a neutral person, non-judgmental person, and an adult person. So they need someone who is an adult, who is a neutral, who is non-judgmental, and that is where the mental health professional comes, and they should seek help. I mean, they can talk to some elder person, they can even tell their parents that they need help about their issues and they want to meet with a psychologist or a counselor.
Right.
So
So today,
and communicating is very important.
Communication is the key to anything. And if parental communication is there, it would be wonderful because they can go rely back on them. And that's where the parents come in. I think we'll be talking about parents. So today we were talking about how relationships can really make, people go mad and sad. And sad is what we keep talking about because stress, depression, and anxiety, the order is SAD. It really takes a toll on you, so you better talk up. And breakups should not happen, but they do happen, and we have to understand how to take charge. Please take care of yourself. God bless you all, and we are all in gratitude for listening and taking tips. Believe me, what we're saying is really making sense. And if you have any comments, any questions, do write into us so that we can have Dr. Amita talking about them. Thank you and take care.